Welcome back, guys. In the previous video, you saw us working on the coolant hoses. When we ended off on that, we got the crack pipe in. We also got the new thermostat housing in and swapped over all the sensors. Added a few more pipes on or hoses on. Never got to finish it last time. We're going to continue doing that. Hopefully, we can get it done and get this headache over because there's a lot of little pipes that have to get done. And it's in a very tight area. So let's get started. So we're gonna start with the hoses on the top. All the hoses that wrap around the, if you look here, all the hoses that wrap around the throttle body. So we got to get in here. This is one we need to remove. This one, that one, and then there's one down in here. It's kind of hard to see, but this one connects to the top of the crank, or at the top of the head, it looks like. That needs to be removed, but that's in a very tight spot to get the clamp off. So it looks like we're gonna have to take this crankcase breather hose off in order to get down in there and remove that clip and pull it off. So the whole process is just remove one hose, take another one, and kind of like match it up to see where it goes. Not all the hoses are perfect length. Some of them are a little bit longer, so I do have to cut them down. Luckily, I bought this, it's a PEX tube cutter for like domestic water, for like your hot water and your cold water for your house, but it works pretty well on these silicone pipe or tubing. So it's going to be a process finding which tube goes where and make sure we don't overcut the stuff. All right, so we're making progress. We're slowly taking the tubing off. We're playing that matching game right now. I got the intake pipe off just so it gives us more room, but currently you can see that we kind of just have stuff taken apart. Like for example, like this, some of this tubing in here. It's a little longer, like this, I believe this was the one right there. Not that you can fucking see it. But we're playing the game. We're dry fitting everything before we do a final clamp together, just because you can see that there's so much extra length on some of these tubes. So we're gonna dry fit everything together. Dry fit it. If it fits properly, we'll clamp it on. If not, we'll take it off and we'll use our nifty little cutters, cut them down to the right size. But we kind of got everything taken apart in this area. I'm gonna move that down to the heater core. We're taking apart this whole area, going one pipe at a time, so we don't get confused where we're at. We just had this pipe. This pipe is a new one, but we took the heat shielding off the old one and snaked it onto here. We don't want to melt the new pipes. And then we also, it's kind of hard to see, let me grab my flashlight. We have a pipe down there, another one with heat shielding on it that needs to come off. That goes to the coolant reservoir. And then, if you can see those two little nubs, those are to the heater core. We also got to get the pipes to that as well. We got a few more to go, but we're just going to keep trucking along, doing one at a time. Alright, so we got most of the hoses on. There's still a few that I'm fighting, mostly because I, quite frankly, don't remember where they go. So, I got my trusty laptop, and I pronounced it wrong earlier. I said Iaka. It's actually Etka. And, I have a nice little coolant piping diagram pulled up right now, trying to find where the last few hoses go. Right now, I'm trying to figure out where this one goes. And determining the correct spot for this. I have an idea. It might be either this, or if I move my laptop, maybe this, because there's another line right here, kind of hard to see with all this stuff. That is the same exact shape as it. I truly believe that this is the right spot for it, so I'm just gonna leave the other one intact. But as far as this one and the other L-shaped one, I got to figure out where they go. So I'm using that diagram to help me out. And then down here, we still have two more. This I did confirm it is for an auxiliary radiator. So you have that rubber, the metal pipe, and then another rubber hose. It connects into here. So this goes to here, runs across this pipe, and there should be an auxiliary radiator that sits here. Obviously, you can see I don't have it. So doing research, there's a way to bypass that. They've clearly bypassed it by just looping a hose around the block. It's not the right way, so I got to find a new way to do it. So as I go through finishing this up on the car, I'll figure out a good solution as to how we can get rid of that loop so we're not bypassing coolant through the main radiator. So I was able to get everything dry fitted. I'm going through it now, putting in the hose clamps, tightening the stuff up. But I did find the culprit of where this goes. So I was comparing it to this one, which turns out this does not match up with this. Looking at Edka, this is actually for the auxiliary radiator cooler. So I do not have that, so this is useless to me. This piece actually ended up being the one that went right here. This guy right here. So I mean, it's, let me compare it to, I mean, the best you can see, it is much shorter. I had to cut the new one down, but we had this one laying up against that one. Granted, they're kind of the same shape, not really. So the way we were doing it is we were matching everything up in pairs like this. So I assumed that these two went together and kind of gave myself a headache looking for where this went. But we're able to get that all figured out. Like I said, I'm going through now, and I am tightening up all of the hose clamps. I kind of got it started back in here. Good. So putting them on back there. I still have to cut this pipe, trim this down, this one, just so it sits better when I put the intake back on, because you have these little clamps that they sit down into. Right now everything sits a little too high, so you can't really get it to sit down in there properly. But making progress. Still have to figure out an alternative for bypassing that, or alternative for that bypass that the previous owner did on the car. Getting rid of that loop so it doesn't bypass coolant past the radiator. But I'm gonna keep going. Once I get everything wrapped up, I'll show you guys how it looks when it's all cleaned up. And then I'll take you through the research I find for the solution to the bypass, whether it's just putting plugs in the on the fittings or buying a new part. I will let you guys know on that piece. All right, so we were able to get all of the hoses on, except for the ones that are meant for the auxiliary coolant radiator. So we got everything put back together. We got all the new hoses on, all the hose clamps. I ran out of the small ones, so this pipe here, and then right here as well. They still need to get these hose clamps put on. I ran out, so I had to go buy more, but I got the whole intake back together, buttoned up, got the crankcase breather hose on, got all the sensors plugged back in. The next thing I can go do is put the stock intake in. Still have to take care of the coil packs. And then down here, I believe all this stuff is tightened up for the crack pipe. I have to plug in the center for, which I'll do right now, for the thermostat. Alright, that's plugged in. So I think fan plugs, this right here, this is so at one point there was a series of pipes and tubes that came off of here that connected to the auxiliary radiator, but at some point it's been deleted. Someone jerry-rigged it to have this tube in here to just bypass it all and then come right back into here. From what I read, it's not great because you're bypassing hot coolant past the radiator. So I'm gonna look for a new Y pipe and then figure out what to do here, whether it's just to plug this off so that there's no more bypassing and it's just straight through the radiator for all of the coolant. I do know one company makes a Y pipe called Groove-In Auto Parts. It's a billet. It's kind of expensive, but I definitely think it'll be worth it. So I'm gonna check that out. And then from there, I still have to completely delete the secondary air pump. So gotta get it up in here. I wish I had let me grab my flashlight. Get up in there. I gotta remove this whole thing, I think. I'm not sure. I have to look into it more. But I believe that's what needs to come off. And then possibly taking the AC off. I've been yelled at by my wife. She wants me to leave it on. So we'll see where the ruling is on that. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys on the next episode.